Here's CBS 4's Ty Russell.
He doesn't have anything on him, right?
No,
Jewelry or anything?
Conor McGregor. If this name brings to mind glory, ferocity, and arrogance, it's easy.
Conor McGregor. The name alone conjures up images of glory, intensity, and unapologetic arrogance, and for good reason. Once hailed as the most electrifying fighter on earth, McGregor stunned the world by knocking out rivals in seconds, conquering 2 UFC divisions, and stepping into a boxing ring to walk away with $100 million in one night. He wasn't just a star, he was the UFC's golden goose. But in recent years, that shine has faded. His name has become entangled in a series of controversies, the most serious being a 2024 assault lawsuit that ended with an Irish court ordering him to pay $250,000 in damages. From revered octagon legend to media villain, McGregor's fall has been dramatic. So, what really happened? How did a once untouchable champion become the face of a crumbling empire? There's a lot to unpack, so let's dive in.
This building, so I head home and pursue this dream of becoming a world champion in mixed martial arts, and that's what I did. I drove home. When I got home, my mother and father said, "How come you're not still at work?" And I said, "I'm never going to go back to that site another day in my life." And then all hell broke loose. But
Conor, look around you. You're surrounded by champions, battle-tested veterans. Who here do you think would give you the toughest fight? This guy TKOs people. When I knock people out, they stay down. They don't. Who the F** is that guy? To truly understand Conor McGregor's ego, even his open defiance of the world, we have to rewind to one moment. April 6, 2013. A name no one knew stepped into the UFC and made a statement in just 67 seconds. Marcus Brimage hit the canvas fast, but it wasn't just the knockout. It was the energy, the precision, the message. Congratulations. Thank you very much, Dana, 60 Gs. Baby. It sounded like gratitude, but anyone paying attention knew better. McGregor wasn't just trying to win fights. He was telling the world, "I'm here to take over, and I want to get paid for it." From day one, he was bold enough to climb weight classes, brave enough to take huge risks at the height of his fame. And for that, he earned admiration. Analysts praised his technique. The media couldn't stop talking about his fire, his flair, his fearlessness. I remember his debut. I saw some interviews, and I thought, this guy's flashy, real flashy. But somewhere along the rise, the cracks started to show. And maybe, just maybe, McGregor didn't see it happening. Glory, when it shines too bright, can blind even the one who carries it. The man who once predicted the exact punch that floored Jose Aldo, eventually found himself trapped in a chokehold, tapping out, not just from the fight, but from the illusion of invincibility he had built. He went from master of media manipulation to prisoner of his own myth. Because kings rarely fall by brute force. They fall when they start believing they're untouchable. Confidence builds champions. But arrogance, it builds the fall. And McGregor didn't just win. He broadcasted his victories like theater. As if every opponent should thank him just for showing up. At first, fans admired the swagger. But as the stakes rose, so did his disdain, and the tide slowly began to turn. It became glaringly obvious in 2014, during his clash with Dustin Poirier. September 27, UFC 178. Poirier was a hungry contender, sharp, aggressive, and focused. But to McGregor? Just a loudmouth from the countryside. His trash talk wasn't playful, it was surgical. "I'm going to rip Dustin's head clean off. He's a little pea-head. His chin's gone. A gust of wind and he's doing the chicken dance." And true to his word, Dustin was out cold. McGregor strutted away like a ruler claiming new territory. But that was only a warm-up. Then came December 12th. 13 seconds. That's all it took to end Jose Aldo's 7-year unbeaten reign. A thunderous left hand. A stunned silence. And then an eruption of cheers, none of them for Aldo. Just like that, McGregor had rewritten what dominance looked like. He wasn't just another fighter anymore. He was an architect of moments. Moments that crushed legends, and carved his name into history. From that moment on, every fight became a performance. Not just combat, but spectacle. A showcase for his swagger, his unshakable confidence, and a kind of theatrical indifference the UFC had never seen. If I feint and he reacts, I'll use that, I'll trap him. I'll create dead space in the octagon and walk him into it, like a zombie. That was his plan for Jose Aldo, to manipulate not just the fight, but the very space around him. It was chess. It was war. It was art. But eventually, even the grandest stage finds a worthy challenger. Someone who doesn't follow the script. Enter Nate Diaz. In March 2016, the UFC didn't just host a fight, it hosted a collision of attitudes. Raw, real, relentless. McGregor brought the bravado. Diaz brought it right back. No theatrics, just the kind of street-tough defiance that didn't flinch. And for the first time, McGregor cracked. As round 2 wore on, Diaz unleashed a brutal combination, then wrapped McGregor in a chokehold that silenced the arena. He's hiding. You still gotta walk. Come see what happens. Told you I'd put a hole in your face. This wasn't just about fists, it was a battle of egos. And that night, McGregor tapped out. Choked. Beaten. Defeated. An image no one thought they'd ever see. The man who had called himself untouchable was the first to beg for mercy. And after that loss, something changed. Not just in the rankings, but in him. The rise slowed. The slip began. He wasn't the cold, focused champion anymore. He became the thing he used to mock, a celebrity spiraling into scandal. In 2019, McGregor made headlines for all the wrong reasons. Caught on camera punching an elderly man in a bar, all because the man refused his whiskey. That wasn't a fighter's instinct. That was ego, warped by power. Just weeks later in Miami, a fan asked for a photo. McGregor smashed the man's phone and walked away, emotionless. This wasn't drama in the cage anymore, it was a loss of control playing out in real life. But darker headlines followed. Sexual assault allegations in Dublin. One accusation is a controversy. Multiple is a crisis. And when the press came calling, he either said nothing, or dismissed them with arrogance. Instead of silencing the rumors, he only added fuel to the fire. In the end, the greatest opponent McGregor ever faced wasn't a man in gloves, it was his own ego. Where's the line for someone so drunk on fame, they forget what restraint looks like? With his name now tied to chaos and controversy, there was only one way to reclaim his narrative, a comeback fight. To rebuild the myth of the notorious, the UFC arranged a strategic matchup. Donald "Cowboy" Cerrone, a respected veteran, but well past his prime. And just like the script demanded, McGregor crushed him at UFC 246. A flurry of shoulder strikes. A head kick. 40 seconds. It felt like a proclamation. I never left, I'm still a problem. But then, he retired. Again. For the third time. Just as quickly as he returned, he was gone. Behind the scenes, the chaos didn't stop. A crumbling marriage. Old scandals clawing back into headlines. The McGregor brand now synonymous with tabloid drama, not triumph. It felt like the story was over. Until he returned, to face the one man from his past who never forgot, Dustin Poirier. The same name he had humiliated back in 2014. However, in the third match, fans had to hold their breath, as both fighters rushed at each other as if there was nothing left to hold back. McGregor still had the technique, still had the speed, and the first punches even made Poirier retreat. But then, when he stepped back to stand, his left leg broke right in front of millions of viewers. One of the most horrifying moments in UFC history. Let me know when you're ready for the next part.